YouTube, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm bringing before you perhaps one of the cleanest early 90s legends in not only the United States but in all of North America. And I say that because in fact this car is plated in Canada. It's a long way from home right now. The car is based in Edmonton, which is in toward the northern part of Alberta, and my friend Al owns this car. He recently put it through its paces driving to the top of Pikes Peak in Colorado. And then he also followed up with that by attending the 2024 National Acura Legend Meet in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I won't get into the backstory as to why the car's staying with me momentarily, but I wasn't going to let this opportunity pass me by to document one of the very cleanest legends remaining in the country some 30 years after its production. There's a lot to talk about with this car, and so this will serve as more just an overview, but the most important thing that should stand out is the fact that it is a Canadian spec car. So the car was delivered originally to Silver Hill Acura in Calgary, Alberta. As a matter of fact, it still wears its original dealer label here on the deck lid and a plate frame that Al has installed there. So the car spent all of its life in Alberta. However, as you can see from the immaculate body condition, it's definitely not been winter driven. I'll get into a little bit about the Canadian specific specifications later on, but I wanted to show you my favorite part about this car is its special backstory. So in May of 1991, there was a story that ran in the Calgary Herald newspaper, or an advertisement rather, about a sweepstakes called the Legend Dairy Sweepstakes. You can't make this stuff up. There was actually a dairy in Alberta named Legend Dairy. They partnered with Silver Hill Acura on prize winnings. So one of the winnings was a 91 Legend. Second place was a trip to the Winter Olympics. And so love this ad, drive the Legend, or enjoy the Legend, drive the Legend. And so the sweepstakes opened up. There were, I'm sure, a number of people participating in that. And then fast forward to 2 months later, a follow-up story ran in the same newspaper on June 15th of 1991, congratulating, it looks like, Mary Normando winning the Legend car courtesy of Silver Hill Acura. The follow-up Winter Olympics winner was also announced. But check that out. There she is, second from right, the original owner of the car. And I don't know exactly how long it stayed with the original family. I'll have to ask Al when he bought the car, but it's been within the last few years. Anyway, the car was just maintained immaculately, and even though it was something that they basically got as a prize, they took care of this car as if they were going to keep it forever. And you can tell based on the condition that it's incredibly well preserved. So not every day you see a story about an Acura Legend that was given away for free when it was new. Let's talk a little bit about the Canadian specific features in this car. One of the first things that you notice when you get in the car is the Canadian instrument cluster. This car has increments in kilometers per hour, and it's got French subtitles. So all the labeling you see in the car, whether it be VIN sticker or window door jamb stickers, most of the owner's manual, a variety of things around the car are all in French because of Canada's bilingual nature. However, there are specifications in this car that definitely never made it to the United States. Right off the bat, you'll notice a very inviting Type J cloth interior of this car. So 1991 L models, this actually does come back as an L when you run the VIN. It does not have wood grain trim, it's just a gray plastic bezel there around the shift lever. However, despite being an L, unlike the United States cars, it does have automatic digital climate control. It has heated seats, heated cloth seats no less. I do love the stereo with the equalizer built in there. Also a power passenger seat, which the United States L models did not get. So the list goes on and on. This car is spec'd unlike any Legend I've ever seen, and I've been hanging around in the Legend community for 25 years plus. So the other thing about this car is the paint. This is a Sirius white pearl, which in the US was, I believe, traditionally reserved exclusively for the LS and GS trims, not for the L. So again, a variety of very unique features for a car that had one of the most special origins I can ever think of with that sweepstakes winnings. I also wanted to show you one of the Canada specific features is the daytime running lamps. So these actually are simply the high beams, but they're illuminated at a lower output than they would be when they're high beams. So that was a regulation in Canada that was required and is required. So the car has daytime running lights. The other thing I talked about with the climate control being automatic, check this out too. Do you remember the TSX that I had a couple years ago that was from Canada? This car is as well, so it's also got the Celsius digits for the temperature, so 22 degrees Celsius there. Pretty cool. Here's another very important topic worth discussing. This car is already a first place show winner. Even though this was its very first National Acura Legend Meet, Al went home with the Best of Show award, highly coveted Best of Show, based on peer judging that was administered by Chris Miller. Everybody overwhelmingly felt like this car was extremely deserving of that honor. The second one was awarded by the dealership. So in a recent video, you saw that our host dealership was National Acura in Albuquerque. And similarly, there was no dispute there when the staff at Montano was asked to pick their favorite Legend, and it was Al's 91 Sedan here. So he's gonna take a lot of hardware home with this car, and it's definitely well deserved. By the way, here's the proof about the car summiting Pikes Peak. That was an achievement that Al and the car completed on the way to the Legend Meet. That's a pretty rigorous drive for anybody who's ever done it. 14,115 feet in elevation at the summit. And it's so intense, in fact, on the way back down the hill, that they stop you for a mandatory brake temperature check. And Al said that unfortunately they did flag him for a cool down time. He was in excess of, I think he said 300 degrees with these brakes getting back down the mountain. So safety first. Last thing I was going to mention in terms of the specs and features is the fact that you notice the odometer says 160722. I just did the math, and this is a cheat sheet that I made in case this car goes on display at the dealership, by the way, but 100,000 miles is 160,934 kilometers. So it's actually very close to hitting 100,000. I'm not 100% sure if Al would be okay with me having the honors of doing that, so I probably won't, but I thought that was kind of cool that this car is still technically under 100,000 miles. I have to say too, ride and handling wise, this car is unbelievably solid. No creaks, rattles, sounds, noise that shouldn't be there. Just about like taking a step back in time to 1991 when the original owner was given this car.